I'm going to show you how to replace an outside wall light like this one. Say, for example, if the electronics inside have gone bad and the motion sensor isn't working and the light just kind of flickers. Or maybe you just don't like the look of it. First, we turn off the power. No, not at the switch. Do it at the circuit breaker. To take the old one down, you're probably going to need some type of screwdriver. We don't know if it's Phillips or flathead, but those are the most common type. You're going to need a razor knife to cut away the sealant, if there is sealant. Hopefully there is sealant. You might need a pair of pliers, depending on if there's any nuts or acorn nuts that you need to turn that are stuck. Depending on how tall you are and how tall the light is, a stepladder might be very useful, or a stool. So the original installer sealed this thing correctly with silicone sealant or caulking all the way around, but that means we need to get a razor knife in there and cut through this sealant to separate it from the wall. So if you've been successful, you should be able to run your razor knife all the way around the light fixture underneath the edge of the metal there, which means the silicone is no longer holding it on. Then the only thing holding it on are these little acorn nuts. And hopefully you can remove them by hand. If not, a pair of pliers will help you remove them. So this particular one is turning by hand. And you have to be careful when you remove the other one to support the light, because that's the only thing holding it up. Alright, so here's your box in the wall, and the original installer of this particular light took the grounding cable and hooked it under the grounding connection here, and it's also acting kind of as a safety cable, so this light is able to hang there. Not everybody will do that. And if you look inside the box, there's some wire nuts, and they're kind of shoved in there behind this little bracket. So we need to get into those wire nuts to unscrew those, disconnect the light wires from the house wires. Now this particular box is an old style one. It's 1965-ish. A lot of house boxes are going to be more square for the lighting boxes on the outside. This one looks almost more like a receptacle box, and so there's this little adapter plate here. I unscrewed the house ground wire so I could rotate this guy, and I was able to pull these wire nuts out, and so now you can disconnect the light from the house wires. Now also note, this is the black, it looks like silicone sealant used to seal this, which is a good thing, except you're going to have to scrape that off to make a new connection with your new light, and most likely the new light may not have the exact same shape of backplate, so some of this might be covered, some of it might be exposed, so especially the exposed part you're going to need to scrape off. We have the black wire, which is the hot, and the white wire, which is the neutral, disconnected. We can unhook this from this little screw and physically take the light off. So this is the replacement light. It comes with its own back plate and some wire nuts and screws here. You'll notice this back plate is square as opposed to the shape that the other back plate was, so when you hold it up there, it's not going to match that black outline correctly. We're going to be replacing that little square adapter with this round one, and hopefully some of these holes are going to line up to the two holes that are in our box. So this box is old enough that the screws that go into these holes may be somewhat specialized. They don't look like your standard box screws. So I'm keeping those screws, and I'm going to reuse those unless I have a good reason not to. First we have to clean up the outside here. So I've bent some of these wires back into the box so they're mostly out of the way, and now it's time to scrape as much of this off as we can. Razor knife, putty knife, that type of scraper. Alright, so I got a putty knife. I have kind of a regular razor knife. If you have it, the straight edge razor I like a lot better for this type of scraping job. And if you're worried about scraping brick with metal, you can try something plastic. May or may not work well. It helps to have a trash can to throw the remnants into. Alright, so I've knocked off all of the pieces of silicone sealant that were like sticking out and high. That's enough to put the new light on seal around it, but you're going to have this black ring which is unsightly. So if you want to get better than that on brick, you're basically going to have to go down to sandpaper, wire brush, steel wool to get that off. So when you're selecting your new light, if you get a light with a base that's bigger than your old light, all of that would be hidden. If you get one that's smaller, you got to clean it up. Brick is tough, so at some point you might just decide we're going to have to live with this. It's slow going. This is probably my best little bit here, and even when pretty much all the silicone is gone, there's kind of a discoloration from underneath it. And I'm not sure if that's silicone that's kind of soaked deep into the brick, or if that's a weathering effect where it protected the brick from other things. You know, so it's still working on it. Alright, so that's better than it was, but it is nowhere near perfect. But I'm going to just live with where it is now. Now, unfortunately for me, I have a pretty old light box that doesn't perfectly match the kind of standard size and spacing of hole locations. So this plate has lots of little slots in it, but none of them really line up to the two holes I need to go into. So this hole here works well, and that hole could be up a little bit more and it would work perfectly, but it's not. So I'm going to have to figure out how to mount this thing to my kind of old style 1960s box. If you have a more modern box, that probably won't be an issue. What I've chosen to do is not optimal. I put a single screw in the top, made sure these guys are level horizontally, and my bottom screw isn't lining up with anything. It's almost to that edge, so I basically put a little nick in there, and I'm going to have to modify this plate by chopping out a little bit of metal so I can put a screw in and kind of get some support in a notch that I put in here to the bottom side. Alternatively, you could just leave this guy as is. It'd probably be fine with the one screw. It's into a metal box, but the bottom can flap a little bit. The top is solid, and you know, most of the weight's going to pull down from the top, so it'd probably be fine, but I'm going to notch this metal so I can get my little screw in there. Obviously, if you had a more modern lighting box than this, that probably wouldn't be an issue. So using a little grinding bit or a Dremel, I made a little notch there. We're going to check it for fit, maybe enlarge it on one side or the other, depending on how it goes. Alright, so you can see that notch lines up nicely with the hole here. These screw holes here are not perfectly 90 degrees from those two mounting points. Obviously, you're supposed to be using like these two slots, or like those two slots, or you know, something else to get this so you can kind of rotate it horizontally. But I got it. There's a hole there. So we have the plate arm in such a way that it doesn't wiggle at all. It's solidly screwed in. Now my hope here is that the length of these rods don't have to be adjusted, because I'm going into brick. I can't push them back anymore. So when you take these acorn nuts off, you have to be careful not to lose the little rubber washers here, because those have to go on the outside of the light. And also, these nuts should be flush with the back there. Alright, let's test fit the light. We're not hooking anything up, we're just physically making sure that everything is not too long or too short to fit where it needs to be. Now, a lot of times you'd wrap this copper under that screw and put this thing around it and tighten it down. In this case, I'm just wrapping that around the screw, and I'm using the wire nut to hook up to the copper because the copper's kind of short. The light's weight is supported by that screw there on the grounding line, so I just twisted the wire nuts arm to black and white to white, and then all of this has to be put inside the box so it won't interfere with the light. like so. So this wire here can either wrap around or preferably go into that box hole, just as long as the wire doesn't get in the way of these guys and the light getting flush to the wall. So when this is flush to the wall, these guys stick out, not quite, but almost a ½ inch. So those machine screws may need to be shortened a bit. Normally you would do that by screwing them back. The problem is I'm up against brick, so I can't screw them back. So the problem is these acorn nuts only go so deep, and so the light isn't really pulled flush with those screws being that long. So not only do we need to shorten these screws, we need to do it in such a way that we don't mess up the threading, or that we can fix the threading, so that we can screw the light onto it. These mounting screws used for household lighting are 8/32, and so I've gone and purchased some 8/32 nuts. They include some 8/32 nuts on the back there, but I wanted my own in addition to those. What we're going to do is, first of all, use this as kind of a depth gauge of how far should I cut. But then we're going to unscrew them off the end of the threads, and that will work the threads back out and chase the threads, so hopefully we won't mess up the threads. So I put the acorn nut on, I hold it flush against the wall, and I eyeball. We need to remove about that much. Now the acorn nut is not fully on. I've only turned on about 5 or 6 threads, which is all you need to hold it. So if I cut off that much, there should be a little bit of room for it to tighten up. So I think that's about that much, or maybe a little bit less. Switch my rotary Dremel tool over to a cutoff disc, and I got an extension cord, so the tool count on this simple job is going up. Could cut these off with a hacksaw blade, but the rotary cutting disc on a Dremel makes it a lot cleaner. And we want these threads to be clean when we're done. Now if you don't have tools, the other option is go to a hardware store and buy a shorter 8/32 machine screw, replace these with the shorter one, and just use that. Make sure you're wearing eye protection. Note that your nuts may rotate from the vibration, so make sure they're in the right spot. Remember, when you're done cutting through these things, they're going to be hot. So I did this one a couple of minutes ago, and the point of this nut is you can turn it off the threads, and it will chase out the threads you've messed up with the saw blade, so that your acorn nut will hopefully still screw onto it nice and neatly. You want to make sure you don't cross thread something here, because those end of the threads there are a little bit messy. There we go. Now the only question is, did we cut it short enough? Alright, so this guy over here looks like it's short enough. The one closest to the camera, I'm not sure. We're going to have to test out with an acorn nut and see. Alright, I've gotten those screws short enough so that the acorn nuts hold this flush against the house. Now I need to put the little washers between the acorn nuts and this metal housing to keep water from getting in. The little rubber washer goes on first, and then the acorn nut screws on top of that to hold the washer against the metal. So the washer makes a hopefully watertight seal so water can't get in through where that screw is coming out. Now with the new light installed, the marks from the old silicone are mostly hidden behind it. They're visible if you know what to look for, but with the light there, it really doesn't look like a horrible circle of black around the empty box. Alright, that's what it looks like installed. Now, ideally, before it starts raining, we want to seal all around this thing to the wall. So even if you're under an eave, you really want to seal around the edge of this thing. It keeps wind-blown water from getting in, and more importantly, keeps bugs from getting in there. Now, if you're on a painted wall, you probably want to use like white latex caulking or outdoor caulking. I'm going to be using silicone, and you could use like a small container like this if you didn't want to buy a caulking gun. Problem is, this only comes in clear, and I wanted black because of my brick. So you have to buy a whole tube, caulking gun to apply it. You know, it's a whole procedure. So if you're a professional with a caulking gun, you probably don't need to mask this. but I'm going to mask it about a 1/4 inch away from the edge of the thing I'm putting the bead along. And if it's straight, 4 straight sides like this, that makes it really easy. And because I'm on brick, I'm paying special attention to these little grooves between the bricks. I need to stick some extra in there before I do the actual bead around the whole case. Alright, here's where you get your finger wet and smear that stuff into a nice bead. If you have extra, you can stick it on the bottom where you couldn't get with the caulking gun. Then you use the roll of paper towels you have on hand to clean up anything you've messed up, like your finger. Then you pull the tape off, you get a pretty nice clean edge, and you're done. Alright, there's my porch light. We're going to test the motion detection here. Okay, so maybe 25 feet away.